जे न्यूजपेपर मध्ये तुम्ही सांगता ते वाचत आहे सर, करतो सर.
बर ठीक आहे. तुला न्यूज म्हणजे नोट्स बनवता पॉसिबल आहे का तुला? म्हणजे
नो सर, ते लिखाण जमत नाही सर मला.
लिखाण जमत नाही आणि इव्हन तुला मोबाईल मधून कॉपी पेस्ट पण करता येत नाही ना?
नो सर.
मग कसं तुझं म्हणजे हे होईल, म्हणजे मेन्स एक्झामचं प्रिपरेशन तू कसं स्टार्ट करू शकतो?
ते सर, ते हार्ड कॉपी मधून न्यूजपेपर मध्ये तुम्ही सांगितलेलं न्यूज वाचतो सर, आणि जे पॉइंट्स आहेत ते थोडं एक एक पॉइंट्स मी लिहून काढतो सर, पण पूर्ण असं डिटेल मध्ये नोट्स काढत नाही सर.
पूर्ण डिटेल मध्ये नको आहे, फक्त पॉइंट्स तरी कमीत कमी, सो दॅट यू कॅन रिकॉल इट इन एक्झाम हॉल.
येस सर, तेवढं करतो सर, पॉइंट्स लिहून काढतो सर.
ठीक आहे. आय विल हॅव अ 1-to-1 सेशन विथ यू सागर. लेट्स सी कसं तुझं नोट्स कसं बनवता येईल, मेन्स एक्झामचं प्रिपरेशन तुझं कसं करून घेता येईल बघूया. ठीक आहे, चालेल. Now let's start with the today's newspaper. Can you all see the newspaper on your screen now? Is it visible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So let's start. Prime Minister pushes uniform civil code, accuses oppositions of instigating Muslims. So as we all know that in the last few years or few days, uniform civil code is in the news. The government has notified and asking the people to give their opinion and register their input with respect to the uniform civil code. तो जब भी कोई कानून या जब भी कोई लॉ बनाया जाता है, so it's a process that how that law is made. First, it is introduced into the parliament in the form of bill, and not only the bill is passed only into the parliament, that is in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Some inputs are also been taken from the people. So recently, the Law Commission of India has asked the people to give their inputs and their opinion with respect to uniform civil code. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants that there should be uniform civil code in India, and he accused that the opposition parties are trying to instigate Muslims. So what is uniform civil code? Which part of the Indian Constitution talks about the uniform civil code? Is it a part of fundamental right or is it a part of DPSP? And what exactly it has been mentioned in the Article 44 of the Indian Constitution? That's what you need to know. And what are the inhibitions and what are the roadblocks, or rather you can say what is the reason that why, despite of 75 years of independence of India, the uniform civil code in India is still not being implemented. So that's what you need to know as a UPSC aspirant. So UPSC has already asked questions with respect to uniform civil code in mains exam in 2019, that what are the inhibitions or what are the impediments in implementing the uniform civil code in India. So as a UPSC aspirant, you need to make your own opinion. You need to have a view on this on this particular issue. Clear? So that's what Prime Minister said. Here you can see the Constitution also speaks of equal rights for citizens. Supreme Court asking, that's what Modi had said. Like a few days back, even the Supreme Court of India has also been asked the government or the executive that what steps have been taken by the government to bring about the uniform civil code in India. Okay, so that's what you can see here. Supreme Court's remark. In the apex court last year, the center said the Constitution obligates the state to secure a uniform civil code for its citizens. Modi too referred to the top court during his speech. So that's what you can check it out here. So please read this whole article to understand what this issue of uniform civil code is. Now, right side, security teams for G20 ask if they can bring long-range arms and government okays only short-range arms. So this is related to the G20 meetings which will be held in India. तो इंडियन एजुकेशन की इंस्टीट्यूट्स जो है उनके रैंकिंग बनाए गए हैं. So IIT Bombay breaks into the top 150 in QS world ranking 8 years after IISc first made it. So I think it's international ranking, not Indian ranking. So IIT Bombay has that has got a ranking in top 150 institutions. Now let's move to the next page. Agriculture, which is the backbone of the Indian economy. There is an advertisement given by some agricultural related company. So you can see that agriculture allied sectors crucial in 5 trillion economic target. What is this 5 trillion economic target? Any idea? इससे पहले हमने डिस्कस किया था. What is this 5 trillion economic target? Sagar.
Yes, sir. India has become 5 trillion economy in 2025, sir.
India has become, or India has a target to become
India has a target to become a 5 trillion economy in 2025.
5 trillion economy means exactly what?
The GDP.
GDP, sir. Yes.
So GDP means what?
Total production of the goods and services, total value of the production of goods and services within the domestic area of the country in a year.
Right. So to become a 5 trillion economy का मतलब होता है that in 1 year India should create 5 trillion US dollar US dollar goods and services in our country. So what is the current size of the Indian economy?
$3.4 trillion, sir.
What is the current size of the Indian economy? It means current size का मतलब है कितना goods and services. What is the size of the GDP of the Indian economy?
3.4, sir.
How much goods and services are produced in a year in India now?
3.4 trillion.
Yes, so around 3 trillion India की अभी economy का size है. We want to increase the size of the Indian economy to 5 trillion economy, right? What is the size of the China? China कितने trillion economy?
19 trillion.
Sorry?
19 trillion.
1919.
Yes, sir. 1919.
Okay. Okay. And what about America?
25 trillion.
25 trillion. अभी बढ़ गया होगा maybe. So imagine India is 3 trillion size economy and China is around 20 trillion size economy, while America is 25 trillion economy. So kitna abhi we need to achieve a very long the objectives. मतलब इंडिया को अभी बहुत कुछ हासिल करना है. Our target is 5 trillion economy, which is again a very, you can say कि बहुत कम GDP size है compared to the China and America. Clear? चलिए. So to become a 5 trillion economy for India, agriculture and allied sector is very crucial. India's agriculture output grew by 400% from 2000 to 2021. तो पिछले 20 सालों में इंडिया का जो एग्रीकल्चरल ग्रोथ है वो 200% से क्या हो गया है, ग्रोथ हो गई है. So in the last few years, like from 2014 onwards अगर हम देखेंगे तो one of the best thing which has happened in this last on the 9 years, 9 साल जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी के हैं, that is एग्रीकल्चरल आउटपुट जो है, एग्रीकल्चरल ग्रोथ जो है टोटल जीडीपी में वो बढ़ता गया है, वो कम नहीं हुआ है. That is the one best thing which has happened. But in other sectors of the economy like manufacturing sector and services sector, the economy has performed worse, and that is why the economic growth rate has been reduced from 9% per annum to around 6% per annum. Anyways, so read this article, cut this article and put it into GS paper 3 topic, issues related to agriculture. All of you know in GS paper 3, there is one topic related to the agriculture. What are the topics there in GS paper 3 with respect to the agriculture? Yes, Sagar. Which topics are there in GS paper 3 related to the agriculture? Sahil, do you remember? Sahil, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Which
Sir.
topics are there in GS paper 3 with respect to agriculture?
Sir, issues related to food processing and
Hmm.
sir, various subsidies, MSPs, cropping patterns.
Issues related to MSP, issues related to agricultural marketing, issues related to the transport, issues related to storage facilities, issues related to the technology in the aid of farmers, etc. Right? So how agriculture can help in becoming the 5 trillion economy with the help of all these the initiatives related to marketing, agricultural cold storage facilities, downstream and outstream food processing, technology in the aid of farmers. That's what all you can come to know by reading this art, right? तो पिछले कुछ दिनों से इंडिया में हॉर्टिकल्चर का प्रोडक्शन बढ़ रहा है या कम हो रहा है?
बढ़ रहा है सर.
Horticulture, the production of fruits is increasing or decreasing? So that's
Sir,
what you
it
can
is
see.
increasing.
India ranks rather first or second in the world agricultural production as the leading production of several commodities including food grains, cotton, cane, horticulture crops, dairy, poultry, aquaculture species. India is the largest producer of milk and dairy products. Horticulture is the growth driver of Indian agriculture as the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the world, heavily assisted by the modern inputs and technology. GS paper 3 का topic है technologies in the aid of farmers, right? So heavily assisted by modern inputs and technologies, Indian farmers have taken the country as the agricultural produce hub. Is there anything mentioned in Constitution of India with respect to the use of science and technology in agriculture? क्या हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में एग्रीकल्चर से रिलेटेड कुछ मेंशन किया गया है?
Yes, sir. One of the fundamental duty in the seventh number fundamental duty, sir.
It's not a part of fundamental duty, Mustafa. Fundamental, yes, 7 में है that you should create the scientific temperament, but specifically agriculture से related DPSP में कुछ कहा गया है. Article 46 of the Indian Constitution in DPS, it mentioned that
Yes, sir.
that the states shall try to organize the agriculture in India on a scientific way. Article 46, जिसमें cow protection के बारे में भी कहा गया है. It's not only cow, actually all the milk animals, like milk animals, draught animals, इन सब के जो breeds हैं उसको कंजर्व करे और उनको प्रिजर्व करे, और उसके अलावा एग्रीकल्चर को साइंटिफिक तरीके से ऑर्गेनाइज करे, ये कहा गया है. Right? So today you go and check it out. Article 46 of the Indian Constitution, in which what our Constitution talks about agriculture. So state की responsibility है to organize the agriculture in India on a scientific way, because Indian agriculture was a traditional agriculture. It was for subsistence agriculture. It was it was never thought to be commercial agriculture. But पिछले कुछ सालों से we know that the Indian farmers are taking the help of the modern inputs and technologies, and that is why the agricultural growth is increasing in the last few years. So the current agricultural production has ever been increasing, touching new heights. That is 330 million food grain का production हुआ है. When India got independence in 1947, India used to produce only around 30 to 40 million metric ton food grain. But now we produce 330 million metric ton food grains, that is rice and wheat. then 342 million tons horticulture, 35 million bales of the on the cotton, 200 million tons of milk, then 30 million tons of the fish, poultry of 4 million tons. That is what is explained here. So all these that is, and you can see that in fact except vegetable oil, remember vegetable oil एक ऐसी चीज है कि जिसमें इंडिया का ग्रोथ नहीं हुआ है, except for vegetable oils, India is not only the self-sufficient but now planning for surplus management of agricultural produce. Farmers have shown remarkable adoption of new technologies since the use of the DORP wheat and rice culminating in the famous green revolution. DORP varieties इस्तेमाल किया गया था green revolution में, that is called as high yielding varieties. Today, one can see that all the latest technologies like hybrid cultivators, GM cotton, sensor-based micro-irrigation, resource conservation, high-tech agriculture, artificial insemination tools in animals, sustainable intensification and mechanization fields. So all these are the fields in which the technology is being used by the farmers. So GS paper 3 got topic technology in the aid of farmers. So these points will be helpful for you in that note. So as a result of surplus production, many products face demand deficits in the domestic market, often leading to glut and price crash, farmers' distress. The nation is looking for a 5 trillion economy. The working group of the Ministry of Finance, Government of India has indicated that. So all of you please cut this article and put it into GS paper 3. This, before your mains exam, you can read it out. Some of the answer of the prelims exam could also be solved by reading this advertisement. Clear? That's what you can see here. It is again continued here. So what is the achievement of Indians in agriculture? That's what you can come to know here. Good quality seeds, fertilizers, agrochemicals are crucial to double the farmers' income. One of the important objective, one of the important, the mandate and promise of the current government is that to double the farmers' income. So अगर farmers का income अगर double करना है, तो good quality seeds, fertilizers and agrochemicals are crucial for this. That's what the HIL Hindustan Liver Limited के director का कहना है. Now let's move on to the next page. Opposition attacks Prime Minister for his uniform civil code push. They say that he is trying to create a divisive politics in India. So read this article, that why opposition parties are opposing the uniform civil code push in India. Union Minister junks Mamta's charges on BSF, routes for UCC. So border security force, GS paper 3 last topic, various security forces in India. So border security force क्या होता है, उनका mandate क्या है, and how border security forces are very useful in border management in India. That's what you need to check it out today. Union Home Minister, Mamta Banerjee के जो charges on BSF. Sometimes the BSF is also, used during the election. मतलब election के वक्त में जो security की जो जरूरत होती है, उस समय में भी BSF and other, the paramilitary forces in India या other जो reserved forces in India के उनका इस्तेमाल किया जाता है. So there are certain charges alleged by Mamta Banerjee on BSF. So routes for the uniform civil code, मतलब uniform civil code के लिए उन्होंने support किया Union Minister भूपेंद्र यादव. Anyone knows भूपेंद्र यादव कौन से portfolio के minister हैं? An idea? Which portfolio is held by Bhupendra Yadav? Chale, now let's move to the next page. Distinguished Service Awards is being given by President Draupadi Murmu. So which are those awards? Because in this year's prelims exam, the question has been asked about the Arjuna Awards and Khel Ratna Award. There could be, was there any question with respect to the services? Last year, मुझे लगता है शायद last year question पूछा था पहले. Fine. Today you go and check it out. What are the distinguished services awards in India? Chat GPT में शायद मिल जाएंगे. तो इंडिया में अलग अलग सर्विसेज अवार्ड दिए जाते हैं फॉर द आर्मी पर्सनल, नेवी पर्सनल एंड एयरफोर्स पर्सनल फॉर देयर कंट्रीब्यूशन इन द डिफेंस सर्विसेज इन इंडिया. सो प्लीज check it out. What are the different types of awards? what are the different types of distinguished service awards, and what are its criteria, etc. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now let's move on to the today's editorial page. Monsoon comfort. As we all know that monsoon has started in India after a delay. So southwest monsoon has picked up, but government can ill afford to ignore the potential El Nino effect. मानसून की शुरुआत तो हो गई है, but you know और El Nino effect का उसके ऊपर ज्यादा असर हो सकता है. This year, because of El Nino effect, the rainfall is considered to be the below average rainfall in India. I've already discussed the monsoon mechanism. When monsoon enters in India, when monsoons, ends in India, what are the different phases of the monsoon, arrival of monsoon, break in monsoon, then, retreat of the monsoon, etc. Impact of El Nino, La Nina, then ENSO phenomena in the Indian Ocean, etc. We have already discussed about it. So you can see that the El Nino ka effect हमारे monsoon पे होने वाला है. So although the southwest monsoon has picked up in India in some part, but we cannot ignore the potential El Nino effect. So what is El Nino? That also we have already discussed. So please read this article, that why the government cannot ill afford to ignore the potential El Nino effect. Kerala face off between Congress and CPM points to the uphill task of building a national front against BJP. Okay, this is the political news, you can ignore it. Now let's move on to the next page. Grey to green. Namita Vakas has written an article on green diplomacy. We are discussing the basics of ecology and ecosystem, global warming, climate change in basic class. तो वहां पर हमने देखा है at international level there is a need to have a cooperation with respect to reducing the carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases in India. So funding for infrastructure development must account for climate related stress. कल भी हमने देखा था कि there was one more important article जिसमें लिखा गया था, I think Ashok Gulati has written an article कि if the global fraternity wants to reduce the global warming, then they shall try to help the underdeveloped countries in global south, for transfer of technology and funds to fight against the global warming and climate change. The same thing is also been said by Namita Vyas, that funding for infrastructure development must account for climate related stress. So that's what is mentioned here. So just read this article. Myanmar is blind spot in Manipur. So Manipur की वजह से border यहाँ पे देखिए, it's a very fine, you can see the illustration by C.R. Shashikumar, that how the people from Myanmar are migrating to India, and that is why it is creating problem in Manipur. So one of the important reasons that why there is a violence in Manipur is that the immigration of the people illegally in India from Myanmar to Manipur. So border management, GS paper 3 topic, border management is again a very, very important aspect here. That's what is explained here. So as per Sanjeev Barua, Myanmar is actually one of the reasons for the violence in the Manipur is the illegal immigration of Myanmar in Manipur. Partners of Global South, Mohammad Soliman, who is a director at the Middle East Institute, Washington. He has written that India-Egypt collaboration empowers both the nations to expand influence. Yesterday only we have discussed about India-Egypt bilateral relationship का significance and importance क्या है. So India's, and Egypt's collaboration empowers both the nations to expand the influence all over the world. That's what Mohammad Soliman has said. So just this article, that how India-Egypt collaboration, India-Egypt bilateral relationship helps in influencing, expanding the influence of both the nations at the global level. Economy page, current account deficit has been reduced by 0.2% of the GDP. So what is current account deficit? That I have already discussed in the basics of economic class. Those who have not attended the basics of economic class, you can, attend my economic class to understand what is current account deficit. I will be taking the economic class once again once we are done with the other subjects. So current account deficit reduce हुआ है by 0.2%. Sagar, reduction of the current account deficit, is it a good sign or it is a bad sign for the economy? Sagar, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, there is a slowdown in India's startups. As we all discussed that in the last few years, the startup culture has been developed in India. बहुत सारे startup companies इंडिया में start हुए थे, but पिछले कुछ सालों से startup में slowdown हो गया है. Unicorn companies addition dipped to 3. So unicorn company का संख्या अभी 3 पे हो गया. What is unicorn company? That also you need to check it out today. So today going check it out, two things. What are the issues associated with the startup companies in India? Google chat box में चैट जीपीटी में सिंपली इतना सर्च कर लीजिए, इश्यूज रिलेटेड टू द स्टार्टअप इंडिया स्कीम, इसको सर्च कर लो, यू विल गेट सम पॉइंट दैट व्हाट आर द इश्यूज बीइंग फेस्ड बाय द स्टार्टअप इंडिया स्कीम. आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू नो व्हाट इज स्टार्टअप एंड स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम. एंड सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग आपको देता है कि व्हाट आर यूनिकॉर्न कंपनीज इन कंपनीज. तो यूनिकॉर्न कंपनीज क्या होते हैं ये आपको पता होना जरूरी है. क्वेश्चन कैन बी आस्क्ड टू यू इन प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम. क्लियर? And issues related to startups in India that can be asked in the mains exam. All of you know what is Startup India scheme? अगर नहीं पता है तो आज जाकर आप चेक करें. Now let's move to the explain page. Indian Ocean Dipole and its potential to limit El Nino effects. So what is IOD? What is Indian Ocean Dipole moment? UPSC has already asked the question on it. And कैसे Indian Ocean Dipole El Nino effect को limit करेगा, that is also explained here. So Indian Ocean Dipole and relation between El Nino effects, that's what you need to check it out today. I will be explaining to you both of these concepts, El Nino and Indian Ocean Dipole, in basics of geography class in monsoon mechanism topic. The civil code debate. The question जो हमने शुरुआत में डिस्कस किया था वही है. Soon after the Law Commission invited views on the UCC, Prime Minister has pushed for it. Disagreement over a uniform civil code goes back to the Constituent Assembly. Why does it entail and why is it sensitive issue? तो क्यों यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड इंडिया में नहीं लाया जा सकता या why it is a sensitive issue? जो हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में मतलब जब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया जा रहा था उस समय भी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को इंडिया में लाया नहीं गया था. So that's what you can check it out here. What are the reasons? That what are the inhibitions of bringing the uniform civil code in India, although everybody wants that uniform civil code should be brought in India. So this is all there in the today's newspaper. I hope all of you have noted the topics which I've suggested you to read it today. So please make notes and share it with me. And if you have any doubts with respect to all the topics which are discussing in the current topics, you can ask me personally in messages. ठीक है? पूजा, any doubts?
सर एबिली असिस्टेड क्या है सर?
एबली असिस्टेड मतलब जो हमारे जो क्या कहते हैं जो टेक्नोलॉजीज है उसका सही तरीके से इस्तेमाल किया गया. एबली का मतलब होता है मतलब टेक्नोलॉजी की मदद से. एबलिंग का मतलब होता है, एबली असिस्टेड का मतलब होता है अच्छी तरीके से उसका मदद लिया गया है. Got it?
Okay sir. Yes sir.
Ably assisted by the technologies, मतलब our farmers have been assisted by the technologies. उसकी वजह से प्रोडक्शन हमारा बढ़ गया है. Various technologies are being used by our farmers.
Okay sir. Thank you.
ठीक है? So that article is very important. आपका GS पेपर 3 का 10 to 20% preparation उसी आर्टिकल में हो जाएगा. You will understand that what is the current scenario of the agriculture in India by reading that article. Clear?
Yes sir.
Fine. So we'll stop it here now. We'll continue the environmental ecosystem topic in the evening as per our regular schedule. I think we are discussing the various cycles of the in the ecosystem. So all of you please join that class so that you can understand the basic concepts of environmental studies, because every year at least 15 to 20 questions are asked related to the environmental studies in prelims exam, and at least 4 to 5 questions are asked in mains exam with respect to the issues of the environmental studies. So have a good day to all of you. See you in the evening.